All right, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're going to talk about Terence Crawford, Shawn Porter, and the fact that they have been ordered to fight, but it appears that the fight is going to go to purse bid, and there is a widely held belief that Terence Crawford is just trying to get out of the fight altogether. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. Before I get into the subject matter of the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Also, share the video, like the video. It would be greatly appreciated. It goes a long way towards growing the channel. And it'd be much appreciated. So let's talk about this. Terence Crawford and Shawn Porter have been ordered to fight by the WBO. And pretty much what that means is that Terence Crawford has to fight Shawn Porter, otherwise he loses his belt. And there's certain steps that go into the negotiation, and specifically there is a purse bid. If the two parties get together and they try to make the fight and they can't within a certain amount of time make the fight or agree to a fight, then the fight goes to purse bid. And that means that anybody, well, not anybody, people, promoters that have money to put up can pretty much bid on the fight. And if they bid on the fight, then the right to promote the fight goes to the highest bidder. If it winds up being that situation, there's also a prescribed purse split between the fighters, which in this case is going to be 60% for Terence Crawford and 40% for Shawn Porter. Now, this fight has been ordered, but there's been a lot of conversation around just different chats, and definitely in my chat, with this very strong belief that Terence Crawford does not want the fight with Shawn Porter, and as a result that these negotiations somehow are going to break down or are breaking down, and that at very least is going to go to the purse bid, but ultimately that the fight may not happen. And now, see, why would people believe that Terence Crawford doesn't want the fight? It's because Terence Crawford had an opportunity for this fight, and pretty much for over a year, Shawn Porter has been saying that he wants the fight, and Terence Crawford had told him, hey, if you want the fight, you've got to go to purse bid. You've got to exercise your mandatory, and then if you exercise your mandatory, then you're in a position to get the fight. Now, what Terence Crawford, by doing that is pretty much an admission that Terence Crawford originally didn't want the fight. Because if you want the fight, you don't have to get into a situation where you have to go to purse bid. You can fight somebody. You can fight somebody voluntarily, and this is a situation where Terence Crawford knew that Shawn Porter wanted the fight because Shawn Porter had been calling for him. Shawn Porter went to Al Heyman. It was very, very public stuff. I'm sure that Terence Crawford didn't miss this. His people and himself they are on social media. So Shawn Porter went out of his way, talked to Al Heyman, and Al Heyman approved it, and he said, "Okay, I have the right to go now without any issue to go try to get the fight from Bob Arum." So Shawn Porter's father and manager, Kenny Porter, went to Bob Arum and told Bob Arum, or the people at Top Rank, it might have been Todd DeBuff, but told the people who were who represented Terence Crawford that he wanted the fight. And as a result, I mean, there was nothing that happened to that as a result of that. I do believe that there might have been like a really low ball offer of like $1 million made to Shawn Porter for the fight, but the fact that he would offer $1 million for that fight tells you that they don't have a lot of interest in the fight, right? But things have changed. Well, I don't know if things have changed. Well, things have definitely changed now because the WBO mandated the fight. Now they actually have to enter into an agreement, and that's where people are saying that things are probably going to go haywire, and that the fight is going to wind up going to purse bid. And again, the reason why the fight would go to purse bid is because those two parties are unable to come together on terms like how much money, like on a bunch of things, but it could be things like, what network is going to hold the fight? Is it going to be Fox? Is it going to be ESPN? Are you going to have, what are the purses going to be? Right now, in this particular circumstance, the purse bid has a minimum of 60-40. So that at the very least, Shawn Porter is going to get 40%. But, Shawn Porter is probably looking to push that fight up to closer to 50-50 because Shawn Porter's name is just as big as Terence Crawford's. So that is going to be a sticking point. I think that might be the one that sends the fight to purse bid, because even though in this particular instance, I believe that Top Rank wants this fight, Terence Crawford probably is not going to want to go for anything less than 60-40 in his favor, because he has the belt and he's the undefeated fighter. And, he definitely has a sense of himself being, of being a star. So that particular, negotiation barrier, I think, is going to bear itself out, and where he's going to have to, go to purse bid and give them the absolute minimum that they're going to get. Now, the interesting thing about those percentages are, right, it's the concept of a percentage. It's a percentage of what? Now, if they go to purse bid, it might wind up being that they make more money, or they have a potential to make more money than if they come to an agreement themselves. But unfortunately, that would mean, in order to do that, you'd have to cut out the PBC and you cut out Top Rank, because when you go to a purse bid, there's that company called Triller, and Triller is very much in the business of winning purse bids. And they did that with the Teofimo Lopez versus Kambosos fight, where they came in significantly higher than what was offered by Top Rank and Matchroom in that purse bid. So with the fight like this, we have Terence Crawford and Shawn Porter, who are both very well-known welterweights, fighting in a fight. Triller would probably come in and offer a higher amount of money, and then both fighters would make more money based off the size of that offering. Now, that is not to say that I know for 100% sure that this fight is going to go to purse bid, but just from the tone and just the way that it looks, Terence Crawford has been very, very difficult in his public negotiations, especially one with Errol Spence Jr., where he's saying that he needs to get, I think it was 50-50 with Errol Spence. If he believes that he deserves 50-50 against Errol Spence, he's probably going to believe that he deserves 70-30 against Shawn Porter. And even though that mandate for 60-40 in the purse bid is there, that doesn't mean that there's not going to be other revenue to the fight that they'd have to negotiate that Terence Crawford's going to want more of the money from, and that being like the pay-per-view. Now, I happen to know from the experience that Errol Spence Jr., the reports about Errol Spence Jr. and how his negotiations with Shawn Porter went for their pay-per-view, that Shawn Porter was he was like really pushing for it to be on pay-per-view. He was really the stumbling block on that one to get that fight over the hump for a while, since he was making big demands on Errol Spence. Errol Spence wanted the fight. Errol Spence was the A side, but he wound up acquiescing to it. So, but in this particular instance, I think that it is definitely going to be one where Terence Crawford is trying to get as much as he can possibly get, probably to the point of being unreasonable, because he doesn't want to fight Shawn Porter. If he wanted to fight Shawn Porter, they would have been able to do it again with just when Shawn Porter approached him for it. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.